Thanks, Brian. I'm going to call, bless you, I'm going to call, it's good timing. We're going to call to order the monthly council meeting of July 17, 2023, here in the city of Summerside at exactly 6:29. We're probably 30 seconds ahead of time, so it's 6:30. Move first order of business, 1B, approval of the agenda. Councilor Duran, you have something to amend? Yep.
Yes, Your Worship. I just have a couple of resolutions to add, just with respect to a rezoning application from back in May.
Okay. We will add those on then at 6C for two resolutions brought forward by Councilor Duran. With that amendment, can I have a motion for approval of the agenda as presented? Councilor Adams, second. Councilor Cameron, all in favor of the agenda? Any opposed? Hearing none, the agenda will proceed as set out in front of us. We acknowledge that the land upon which we gather is the unceded Mi'kmaq territory. Epikway is covered by the historic treaties of peace and friendship. We pay our respect to the indigenous Mi'kmaq people who have occupied this island for over 12,000 years, past, present, and future. Any councillor with a conflict of interest declaration with any item on the agenda? Hearing none, we'll move past item 1D into item 2, minutes. We have a series of 7. 7 minutes to approve. Just a quick note, anyone going to move or second or vote on approval of the minutes should have been at the meetings, and I think everyone was at all of them. Motion to approve the special council meeting minutes of June 14th, 2023. Councillor Gallant, second. Councillor Duran, all in favor? Any opposed? None. Those minutes are adopted. Monthly council meeting minutes of June 19th, 2023. Motion to approve those minutes as presented. Councillor Adams, second. Councillor Morrison, all in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, those are adopted. In-camera meeting minutes of June 19th, 2023. Motion to adopt minutes. Councillor Morrison, second. Councillor McDougall. Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll adopt those. I'm going to speed it up. Special council meeting minutes of June 27th, 2023. June 27th, 2023. Motion to approve the special council meeting minutes. Councillor McColman, second. Councillor Duran, anyone opposed? None. Those are carried as is. Planning board meeting minutes of June 27th, 2023. Motion to approve those minutes. Councillor Morrison, second. Councillor Duran, any opposed to those? Hearing none, those are adopted. Committee of the whole meeting minutes of July 4th, 2023. Any motion to approve those minutes? Councillor McDougall, second. Councillor Snow is in the game. Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll move on to the last, item 2A7. Special council meeting minutes of July 4th, 2023. Motion to approve those minutes. Councillor Cameron, second. Councillor Gallant, any opposed? Hearing none, all the minutes are adopted as presented. Move on to item 3, accolades and recognitions. This is the opportunity for any councillor to take note of anything that they wanted with respect to things happening in the community that are positive or they want to draw attention to. Councillor McDougall.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. I spent some time around the Lobster Carnival this year, and I just want to send out my comments on Laurie Ellis, Marlene Campbell, their staff and volunteers. They just work their heart and soul out down there, and I want to send out accolades to them and their staff. So, job well done.
Certainly echoed by all. Anyone else? I'll just take a quick note. I just made a couple notes here to recognize, I guess it was Rollum won the 55th Governor's Plate final on Saturday night. Driver Mark Campbell, for owners Brady Doyle, Brent Campbell, and Ryan McLeod. There was a great crowd, and I guess the handle of almost $160,000, which was an all-time record for our track here in Summerside. Track that's been hosting harness racing for 137 years. So great to see so many people out there, and thank you, Councillor McDougall, mentioning Lobster Carnival Canada Day. We got the Friday night car show on the go. The Arts Festival starts today. The Famous Five at Lafergie is on Wednesday. Diversity is next week. It is certainly summer, and Prince Edward Island and Summerside is incredibly busy with lots to do. So lots on the go, and a lot of it being done by community leaders and volunteers and staff. So overall, thanks to everybody. Item 4, public presentations, delegations. There are none tonight. So we'll move on to item 5, appointment to committees. So this evening, I'm establishing 2 ad hoc committees. I'm going to establish them and appoint a chair, and then we're going to work through the mandates and the rest of the membership over the coming months. The first, the Downtown Waterfront Revitalization Committee will be chaired by Councillor Snow. And I'm also forming the Welcoming Diverse and Inclusive Communities Committee, which will be chaired by Councillor Cameron. Both Councillor Snow and Cameron have some marching orders, but direction with respect to bringing together the mandate and working once our bylaw and governance committee provides the public appointment process, or members of the, forget exactly what the term is. Those committees will be populated by other members of the public, and ideally an additional vice chair of each of those committees. So those committees now are in force, and we're going to start putting the meat on the bones, and hopefully those committees will start meeting as soon as October. Next, the introduction and reading of bylaws and resolutions, of which we have now 4. Resolution COS 20, yes, Councilor McDougall?
Yeah, I have the,
Perfect.
right, sorry about that. Yes, Your Worship, I have the resolution on basic, universal basic income, and this was a resolution that came out of the Atlantic Mayors Congress and was forwarded to all towns and cities across the Maritimes for a unified resolution. So this is moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Duran. Whereas growing social crisis and impacts of poverty have downstream effects on our municipality, putting unsustainable pressure on our limited resources to deliver necessary public services and social supports as we struggle to keep up with the downloaded responsibilities. Whereas basic income addresses key social detriments of health, such as income and housing, it can alleviate pressures on municipalities to address poverty and fill gaps in social supports, such as shelter, housing, food security, and mental health. Research and pilots show that when people have a sufficient and secure income, their mental and physical health improves. They have the capacity to secure more affordable, suitable, and safe housing, childcare, healthy food, and transportation, and poverty rates decrease. Whereas the provision of a guaranteed livable basic income would benefit individuals, families, and communities and protect the most vulnerable in society, it would also support community resilience by facilitating the transition to a local economy that responds to the climate crisis and other major challenges. Evidence shows that a federally funded basic income that improves people's financial stability is possible, and the successful income transfer programs already exist in Canada for seniors, old age security, and guaranteed income supplement, and for parents, the Canada Child Benefit. Therefore, be it resolved, the Council of the City of Summerside direct the Office of Mayor to write a letter to the Prime Minister, the PEI members of Parliament, and the Premier Prince of Rhode Island, calling on these orders of government to work towards developing a guaranteed livable basic income to eradicate poverty and homelessness and ensure everyone has sufficient income to meet their basic needs.
Thank you, Councillor McDougall. You said that was moved by yourself and seconded by
Councillor
Duran. Any comments first? Hearing none, we'll move on to a vote. I'll call for a vote. All in favor of Resolution COS 23-104, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, Resolution COS 23-1-04 is adopted. Thank you, Councillor McDougall. I guess I have to write a letter. I better make a note. I have to, you just told me to do something. Okay. Okay. Next, resolution, under section 6B here, resolution COS 23-105 with respect to Pride Week. Councillor Cameron, do you want to read it out or do you want me to? You sure? Gordon, I can read a resolution, can I? Okay, great. Moved by Councillor Cameron, seconded by Councillor Gallant, resolution COS 23-105. Whereas the city of Summerside recognizes the importance of promoting diversity, inclusivity, and equality for all of its residents, and whereas Pride Week serves as an occasion to celebrate 2S LGBTQIA+ community, raise awareness about 2S LGBTQI+ rights and issues, and foster a sense of belonging within Summerside. And whereas flying the Pride flag and adopting Pride visibility measures demonstrate the city's commitment to achieving an inclusive and welcoming environment for all residents, regardless of their sexual orientation or gender identity. And whereas public support for 2S LGBTQIA+ rights and the visibility of Pride symbols have been shown to have a positive impact on the well-being of 2S LGBTQIA+ individuals and contribute to the overall strength and unity of our community. And whereas recognizing and celebrating diversity helps build stronger communities, promotes understanding, and fosters a culture of acceptance and respect. Now therefore be it resolved that the City of Summerside, the City of Summerside shall fly the Pride flag annually during Pride Week, commencing on the beginning of Pride Week each year. The Pride flag shall be prominently displayed at designated locations, including City Hall and other public buildings as deemed appropriate by the City Administration. 2, the City of Summerside shall adopt visible Pride symbols and decorations throughout the city, including but not limited to banners, signs, and artwork during Pride Week. These symbols shall be displayed in public spaces, parks, streets, or other areas within the city, contributing to the atmosphere and inclusivity and support for the 2S LGBTQIA+ community. 3, the City Administration is directed to coordinate with local 2S LGBTQIA+ organizations, community groups, and residents to ensure that Pride Week activities and events are well publicized and effectively promoted. Collaboration should be encouraged to ensure a diverse range of perspectives and experiences are included in the planning and execution of Pride Week initiatives. 4, the City Administration is authorized to allocate resources within existing budgetary constraints to support the implementation of this resolution, including the acquisition, installation, and maintenance of Pride flags, decorations, or other related items. 5, the City Administration shall review and evaluate the effectiveness of these Pride visibility measures annually, ensuring that they continue to align with the city's commitment to inclusivity and the needs of the 2S LGBTQI+ community. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be sent to all city departments, community organizations, and local media outlets to raise awareness of the City of Summerside's commitment to fostering a welcoming and inclusive community for all residents. Comments, questions? Councillor McColman.
I'd just like to make a statement on it. For some of the following reasons, I'm not prepared to vote on the resolution at hand tonight in order to allow full council to discuss the resolution is what my purpose is. And I only had a chance to read the information this weekend, and I just look at that for due diligence reasons. And the whole purpose for me, I want to thank the committee for doing up the resolution, but I just want to point out that it does say in the resolution that whereas the City of Summerside recognizes the importance of promoting diversity, inclusivity, and equality for all of its residents, and then in point number 2, whereas recognizing and celebrating diversity helps build stronger communities, promotes understanding, and fosters a culture of acceptance and respect. I guess for me, I just began to think of the people that we do have in the ward represented or around the community of Summerside, and I mention this with the greatest respect that we, with the points of the resolution for the Pride Week resolution, there's a large growth of cultural diversity within the Acadian Francophone community of people. As well, there's the Indigenous Aboriginal Filipino population that is here in Summerside, the Asian population, East Indian, Muslim residents, and that's just to name some of the new residents. And I guess as I start to think about that, I was wondering, we want to be fair and inclusive to all diversity groups. And my question is, and this is what I struggle with, will any of the people groups that I've just mentioned above, will they be given the same opportunity to have a designated week to raise awareness, allocate resources, and in order to recognize, especially, I'll just close with this point that I just mentioned, if we're trying to bring inclusivity, that the city of Summerside recognizes the importance of promoting diversity, inclusivity, and equality for all of its residents, and that's why I brought the point up. So that's where I stand on it.
Any other councillors, comments or questions? Is that that's a statement, Councillor McColman, not a general question? Yeah, Councillor McDougall?
Well, no, I was just wondering if Councillor McCollum was asking for an amendment.
Well, I think it would be really good that if we could talk about it as a council, because I guess what my concern is, if we start to hear from some of the other groups, diversity and cultural groups, and they're wondering, you know, or have questions, I would like for us to be able to discuss it as a council so we could explain. I don't feel like I have the answers.
I just want to kind of comment on this. I think an amendment would be good. I work with the LGBTQ veterans, and I've heard this comment actually quite a few times when I do my intake forms. And Charlottetown now is, they fly the pride flag and they do a lot of diversity. And they keep asking, why isn't Summerside on board? And it's kind of hard to answer that question when you don't know the answer. So maybe an amendment to this would be a good thing. That way it includes everybody.
Okay, I guess we just need to know what the amendment would be, because I would, as far as what I can read is, this would help move us forward towards recognizing and celebrating Pride Week and being inclusive. Is it the issue with the term diversity in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Should it say diversity, inclusivity, and equality instead of simply
If I may,
diversity?
just
I
to
guess you
clarify
need-
from my perspective, I'm not against either way. It's just that I know that with all of the other population base, if people ask the questions like, will they have a week for their celebration of their, you know, whether Francophone, whether, you know, and we don't really have an answer for that. And that's where I'm stuck on it. And I'd like for us as a council to be able to talk about that collectively so that we do have an answer.
I have a question to your point. Is that the other groups who you've mentioned, other than the Francophone community, I'm not aware of any other weeks where there is a certain designation that's, you know, nationally recognized that says the Filipino community has a week that they celebrate their heritage. And that is specifically why I put this in, is because there is a specific week for this group of people. I would say that anyone should be welcome to ask for that. It's about inclusivity. This is looking at a small step that the city of Summerside could do, because right now we don't do anything. To speak to Councillor Gallant, I spoke with the executive director of Pride PEI. They don't host anything here because we don't do anything. We aren't involved with them. We don't seek them out. I have sought them out to speak to them of what do we need to do as a city to have you guys involved with us. They're involved with Charlottetown because Charlottetown does stuff and we do not. This is a simple way to start opening doors for inclusivity. It may not right now include everyone, but it's opening a door to let everyone be inclusive.
And I respect that, I really do. I guess all I'm saying is, that's a good answer that you have, but I would not be able to give that answer to someone who wonders why we wouldn't do that for another group of people. Like, we have newcomers and diversity, and yes, they have a day, but I just think that we have to have an answer as to the reason why, so that we don't get all kinds of requests coming in, or that we don't offend anyone. That's all I'm saying. I'm not against, I think you've done, a lot of work on it, and I respect that. But I just know that sometimes people will pick up on the things that they don't see. Why aren't we represented? And that's all I'm asking, okay? And I just felt obligated to bring it up.
I'm a little bit confused, I guess. We do, we're raising flags here all the time, and this is asking for a week, and don't we put it up for a week now? If, when we have the pride raising of the
You may be
flags
answering,
at that time? Yeah,
you may partly be answering your own question.
Yeah.
The flag policy here, if there's a request,
Right.
we'll put it up.
yeah, yeah. Yes,
But this is, I think, more than just throwing a flag up the pole.
right.
Yeah, and that's where I think the representation needs to happen. We don't need to wait for people to ask, can you represent this group of people? I think that we can be proactive in some ways, and I mean, to just kind of bypass that policy to say, we're not going to wait for you, we'll do it in support of you. That is what Pride PEI wants, is they want municipalities to say, we don't need to wait for you. We're going to be there, and we're going to support you. We're going to be an ally with you. And that's why I think that putting this forward for the flag specifically is important, because it shows going forward that we're willing to work with people and willing to be inclusive and willing to help others that sometimes are marginalized.
And I guess, if I may, my final point, where it says in point number 4, the city administration is authorized to allocate resources within existing budgetary constraints to support the implementation of this resolution, and so on, including the acquisition, installation, and maintenance of pride flags, decorations, and other related items. So my question to that, if we do need an answer from other groups of people, are we going to do like-minded for anybody else that would come, and in the spirit of fairness?
Sorry, there's nothing restricting any councillor from any time bringing forward a resolution in support of diversity, inclusivity, or equality for any one of any resident or group of residents. So this really isn't about one or the other. This is a resolution that is being moved by Councillor Cameron and seconded by Councillor Glant. So if there's any suggestions for revisions that people want to vote on, otherwise I think we just get on and have a vote, because we should move on with the night. Is that okay? Okay, so I will move for a vote with respect to Resolution COS 23-105. All in favor of said resolution, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Opposed 1, Councillor McColman. Resolution is passed. Resolution COS 23-105 is adopted by council. Great. Proud of you guys. Next item on our agenda. Another resolution, 2 more resolutions. These ones, Councillor Duran, you have the resolutions in front of you, I believe.
I do, thank you, your worship. COS 23-106, moved by myself and seconded by Deputy Mayor Snow. Whereas an application was received from Strategic Holdings, Inc. for a zoning amendment for a portion of PID number 73536 from a single-family residential R1 to high-density residential R4 zone under the City of Summerside zoning bylaw. And whereas zoning amendment 0081A was declared read a first time at a city council meeting on April 26th, 2023, and declared read a second time at city council meeting on May 15th, 2023. And whereas city council wishes to rescind their decision on zoning bylaw amendment 0081A, be it resolved that resolution COS 23-064 be rescinded. And Schedule A is attached, which is the original COS 23-064.
Thank you, Councillor Duran. I'll call for a vote on Resolution COS 23-106. All in favor of said resolution, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the resolution moved by Councillor Duran and seconded by Councillor Snow, I forgot to add that at the beginning, is carried. Councillor Duran, you have one more, I believe.
Yeah, Resolution COS 23-107, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Morrison. Whereas an application was received from Strategic Holdings, Inc. for a zoning amendment for a portion of PID number 72421 from single-family residential R1 to high-density residential R4 zone under the City of Summerside zoning bylaw. And whereas zoning amendment 0081B was declared read a first time at a City Council meeting on April 26th, 2023, and declared read a second time at a City Council meeting on May 15th, 2023. And whereas City Council wishes to rescind their decision on zoning bylaw amendment 0081B, be it resolved that resolution COS 23-066 be rescinded, and Schedule A is attached, which is the original COS 23-066 resolution.
Thank you, Councillor Duran. Again, moved and seconded. Sorry, I'm writing when you say that, the first part, and I always miss it.
Moved by myself and
Yeah.
seconded by Councillor Rick Morrison.
Okay, I'll now call for a vote on Resolution COS 23-107, moved by Councillor Duran, seconded by Councillor Morrison. All in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, Resolution COS 23-107 is carried. At this point in the evening, we move on to item 7, which is reports. The first report is Finance. Representative of Finance is Councillor Bruce McDougall.
Thank you, Your Worship, and I have a report here prepared by Kirsten Dumper, the Director of Finance. Good evening, colleagues, City Council and businesses, residents of the City of Summerside. Our external auditors, Grant Thornton, LLP, will be on site starting in late July for our annual audit. The audited financial statements will be presented to Council in September as per Section 175-1 of the Municipal Government Act, and that will be filed with the Government of PEI no later than October 15th. A review of our utility receivables shows that our trend for 60 days past due is still higher than we have experienced in past number of years. 27,500 as of July 10th, 2023, compared to 5,900 on July 13th, 2022. The number we are reporting as of July 10th for overdue balances greater than 60 days is better than the total we presented as of June 19th, but we'll still have a number of utility customers that will have utility service suspended if satisfactory payment is not made by the date on their collection notice. Our utility accounts receivable as of July 10th are as follows. Total overdue balance is $229,800 compared to $202,100 at June 13th, 2023. And approximately 12% or $27,500 of the overdue balance is greater than 60 days. This compares to 15.4% or $31,000 at June 13th, 2023. Customer with overdue balances are strongly encouraged to contact our office at 902-432-1230. And a reminder that the customer portal is available to our utility customers where they can review their account details, access your utility bills, and make payments by credit card or Visa or debit. And I think that's basically it. Thanks for the opportunity for the report. And if I have any questions, I can't answer it, she can. Oh, good.
Thank you, Councillor McDougall. Next, 7B, Economic Development and Growth, Representative Deputy Mayor Snow.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to start by thanking Economic Development Director Mike Thuska for the report. The following is a brief update. Client servicing, the department is still seeing great level of interest in the business expansion and labor force hiring and being seen in every sector from IT to manufacturing. Blue Wave just completed the hiring of 2 more AI scientists, bringing the office to 4. As well, the office is currently working with the existing client, looking to add another 50 positions and expand by 10,000 square feet to house their operation. The ACOA Green Team Tour, Summerside EDO hosted the ACOA Green Team, 5 people, for a tour of Summerside energy infrastructure, including the wind farm, Eco Park, and Cup Solar. Members of the team were related to see how the projects they've supported have matured into Canada leading examples of energy excellence. Eco Park Building 1. Major milestone was achieved on June 26th with the official ribbon cutting ceremony of PEI's first passive industrial facility. The 16,600 state-of-the-art square foot energy efficient building is slated to open in the spring of 2024. With half the building committed, the office is working hard to fill the remaining space, as well as looking to subdivide the remaining lots for sale. Lastly, Summerside Transit. The office officially completed its transit review and strategy forward and is now working on evolving file with the next levels of talks with the provincial and federal officials. This all-electric transit service is a major upgrade from the existing service, with a hybrid model being proposed. Our hope is to have success in collaborating with our partners to secure much-needed and improved full-scale transit service in Summerside to support our growing city. That is the report for the Economic Development Office.
Thank you, Deputy Snow. Any questions? Hearing none, we'll move on to next item, 7C, Governance, HR, and Legal, Representative Councillor Cameron.
Thank you, Your Worship. Terry Arsenault was the successful applicant for the purchasing agent position. Mike Harris was the successful applicant for the wastewater treatment plant supervisor position. Job competitions are currently underway for the wastewater treatment plant foreman position and wastewater treatment plant operator. The credit union place is seeking customer service staff and lifeguards. The Joint Occupational Health and Safety Committee and Department Subcommittee continue to meet on a regular basis. A review of the city's occupation health and safety program is ongoing, with updates being made as required. A family fun day is being planned for later this month at Shining Waters and Sandspit. And lastly, congratulations to Roger Ahern, who retired at the end of June.
Thank you, Councillor Cameron. Any questions? I did have a quick question. There had been a posting for a bylaw officer. Is there any update on that job posting? I think I saw that on Facebook. Is that right? Yeah, I know you were away, so I asked the question for you.
Your Worship, I can update that we're currently in discussions with the police union and the Corps Commissionaires around trying to get that position filled through the Corps.
Thank you very much. Yep, thank you.
The discussions are going well. They're not finalized yet, but they are tracking in the right direction.
Great. Item 7D, Emergency Services and Communications. Representative Councillor Adams.
Thank you, Your Worship. Fire Service, and thanks to Ken Culleton for combining this report he puts a lot into it, and he's also like a secretary of sorts for the fire service, so he takes care of everything and puts it into a report for us every month. For June, there were 33 calls paged out during the month. That's everything from medical first responder, alarm panels, structure fires, outdoor fire violations, electrical fires, motor vehicle accidents, indoor smells of smoke, dumpster fires, appliances, and miscellaneous calls. And firefighters trained for 592 hours in June. Just to note, on June 8th, 8 of the members attended the annual Fire Department Information Conference at Acadia. This Atlantic Symposium has become a focal point for educational seminars directed at emergency responders. And firefighters have begun their annual weekend duty shifts. So this is during the summer months when most like to take their vacation. A team of firefighters are designated every weekend from June until September. This team remains within city boundaries and are prepared to answer all calls that come in during that time. This is considered a preventative measure, in the event that too many members would be away on vacation at any one time. So thank you for that. And then Summerside Police Service report, and Deputy Chief Jason Blackyear compiled this report. The bicycle rodeo returned, and after a COVID-induced hiatus, the Summerside Police Service Bicycle Rodeo returned on June 24th to the Cup. The event was very well attended. 35 bicycles were given away, along with dozens of helmets, locks, and other bike-related gear. There was significant corporate sponsorship for this event, including donated bikes, helmets, food, bicycle tune-up services, and many other prizes for the participants. Training. 2 members attended various training sessions during the month of June, including 2 officers attending crisis negotiator training in Newfoundland during the last week of May, first week of June. The same negotiators participated in a joint training exercise with the Charlottetown Police Service on June 30th. Deputy Chief Blackyear attended the National Police Service meetings also in Newfoundland in June as well. 2 new members were taken on by the police service in the month of June. Constable Logan Landry and Constable Brendan Lack will begin their duties over the next couple of weeks. So welcome to Logan and Brendan, and that's it. If anybody has any questions.
Councillor Carey, the 2 officers that were hired, are they from the Atlantic Police? Originally?
Do you know, CAO?
I don't know off the top of my head, to be honest with you. I'm just checking with Brian, and he says no.
Okay.
But I know we recruit most of our police officers through the Atlantic Police Academy.
Okay. No, that's great, thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Adams. I will now move on to 7E, Municipal Services, Representative Councillor Gallant.
I'd like to thank Greg Goody for doing the report for Municipal Works. Public Works, Water, Sewer, Utility highlights. Public Works Department and private contractors continue to do hot asphalt road repairs, except to be done by the end of the month. Traffic line painting and street sweeping continues throughout the month. Public Works supports the activities last week for Canada Day, Lobster Carnival, Downtown Car Show, traffic control barricades, parking routines, water hookups, etc. Electric utility highlights. During the month of June, the electric utility moved its overflow storage from 85 All-Weather Highway to its new storage area in the Industrial Court. The new storage area is 7,400 square feet and climate controlled for electrical equipment. The new storage area will be the home for the overflowed storage for the next 5 years. The capital project for the Sunbank overhead lines are due to be completed by the end of July, and then the work will be all tidied up at the beginning of August. Pole replacements along Harvard Street is continuing with 40 new poles. Construction and development activities are in full peak with utilities, with working being scheduled within the next 3 weeks for electrical upgrades. Public Works. Greenwood and Pope intersection are fully painted this month to assist for safety concerns. Granville Street lift station was repaired this month. Briggs Street power outage this month was for 30 minutes after checking all went smoothly. Water and sewer utilities. 24 water samples were taken for clear bacteria results. 2 water breaks were repaired on Rufus Street and Grant Drive. 4 water service repairs this month. 1 water flow test was conducted on Jennifer Street, and 10 service calls for the month. Utility and power. Meter charges are for the 2024 season. City Hall interior lights repaired. Traffic light bulbs at Sobeys intersection was repaired. Generator had been running for the maintenance occurred for the New Brunswick transmission grid. And this is my report.
Thank you, Councillor Gallant. Any questions? Hearing none, we'll move on to item F, Community Services and Tourism, Representative Councillor Morrison.
Thank you, Your Worship. I want to thank Director JP DeRoger for this report. The Noah Dobson's Hockey Fest took place in June and was a major hit. There was 51 teams registered, which is over double last year. There was over 450 players, 6 vendors and activations, and 5 total rinks. From the event, over $10,000 was raised for adults with intellectual disabilities. The Credit Union Place Convention Center was busy with 27 room bookings, including a large Holland College event, the Filipino Independence Day event, and the Atlantic Police Chiefs Banquet, to name a few. There are currently 312 individual halls pre-booked for July through December, and requests are pouring in quickly. The box office announced them went on sale with tickets for the Wiggles concert taking place on September 26th. It was a busy month for aquatics as well. The National Lifeguard course finished. 6 members took the full course and 4 members did a recertification. The Masters and Dolphins programs both wrapped up their respective programs for the season. The Autism Society held their monthly sensory swim on June 4th, and the Dolphins program hosted a swim meet which included 150 participants. Spring swimming lessons finished up while swimming lesson registration took place for summer lessons. The pool was closed for 5 days for scheduled maintenance and cleaning, which was performed by our community service facilities team, and the place is looking great. And the Aquafit classes held during the month of June had a turnout of approximately 1,000 people. A busy schedule continued for Active Living in June. The 3rd annual Shipwrights Run was hosted and had the highest registrations numbers to date. The Bird Feeder Workshop and DIY Terrarium Walk Build was hosted. Lots of planning and preparation for the summer camps that start at the first week of July and begin planning for the Go PEI summer programs. It was another busy month for the Dome as well. The Adult Sports Social has wrapped up. Lots of birthday parties were hosted, along with hosting West Isle Safe Grad. A school soccer tournament was hosted, along with some summer sport organizations, including football, Summerside United, and Summerside Baseball. The fitness classes are on the incline. Numbers continue to grow for fitness programs hosted by the Dome. And that's the report.
Can I just make a comment? On that note, I think we should recognize Councillor Cameron on the introduction of the adult social program, and I know it was him and another, what was the other lady's name? I'm drawing a blank.
Serena Smith.
Yeah, they came to the city a while back, and I was in on the initial meetings, and the idea was brought forward, and they took off and ran with it, and they did all the legwork, they did everything, and it's turned into something really amazing. So I think recognition is deserved. So.
And what's it called again?
The Adult Social Program. Yeah, it's a great program.
Thank you, Councillor Morrison. Moving on to item G, Arts, Culture, and Diversity, Representative Councillor McColman.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'd like to thank Director Laurie Ellis for preparing the report. And just some highlights. The report captures some of the information and events for Culture Summerside's activity from mid-June to mid-July. Beginning with the old-fashioned carnival. It was very well attended. Comments were favorable. Families from all over Summerside and various parts of the island attended. Thank you to all who volunteered to make the events a success. The 2023 carnival had the highest attendance in the history of the event. The Summerside Lobster Carnival, the 67th year, it was held July 6th through to the 8th. It was a great carnival, a part of their summer. In the 2023 Midway operations, they experienced an increase in ride revenue over 2022. The delivery of the Summerside Lobster Carnival can be attributed to the wonderful volunteers who offered their time and talent to the long-time community event. Culture Summerside gives each volunteer a huge thank you And our appreciation also goes to the event chef, Robert Pendergast, and all the sponsors and partners who made it all possible. In the category of museums, our history, cultural, interpretive centers are open for the summer. Many activities and events going on throughout. Concerts in the garden. Weekly concerts are underway and take place every Wednesday evening, weather pending. And I'll just, one little point, this Wednesday night, the Famous Five Maquette Tour is going to open at Lafergie Center at 7 p.m. and the public is invited. Summerside Arts Festival and Diverse City, Wyatt Heritage Properties Incorporated and Culture Summerside are currently preparing for the Summerside Arts Festival, which opened today, and it will run through until July the 19th. The event includes a drive-through art exhibit on Prince Street, a sculpture garden, many artist demonstrations, live music, and artist workshops. And Diverse City follows on the same site on July 23rd. And you'll see in your reports there's a number of photos that Lori has included. That ends my report.
Any questions? Thank you, Councillor McColman. And I'm just going to jump into with the. Now I understand why I'm so exhausted. These last 2 pages, there has been so much on the go. And a quick "Where's Waldo?" I'm in 2 of the pictures if you want to take a look and see. One of them is just the back of my head, the bad side. Moving on to H, Technical Services, Representative Councillor Duran.
Okay, thank you again, Your Worship, and thank you to Aaron McDonald, Director of Technical Services, for preparing the report this evening. The water main project on Central Street is completed. That gives us a new water line all the way from Pope Road to First Street. 15 building permits with a value of just over $4.8 million were issued for the month of June for a year-to-date total of $51.7 million. We issued permits for 3 commercial alterations or renovations. And on the residential side, we issued permits for 2 apartment buildings, 2 single-family units, 2 additions or alterations, 3 accessory buildings, 1 demolition permit, and 1 change of use permit. A couple more apartment complexes received permits this past month. There's a 12-unit building on Water Street East and a 28-unit building on Jennifer Street. Developers are stopping in and speaking to staff for assistance with their proposed projects. And now is also a great time for our citizens to ask for assistance with their projects that they may still have planned for this year. And that is the Tech Services report for this month. Short and sweet.
Thank you, Councillor Duran. Any questions? Certainly keeping busy upstairs. Moving on to the next item, which is me, Federation of Prince Edward Island Municipalities. There were no meetings in the month of June, so I have nothing to report. I will just take a quick note that we did host the mayors of Stratford and Charlottetown here in Summerside on Friday. We took them, and the mayor of Cornwall was also coming, but she had a family thing come up at last minute. Took them on a tour of the solar fields to show it off. They were very, very impressed. They also came with their CAOs, and then we spent about 2.5 hours meeting. 3 major topics covered. We talked quite a lot about transit. We talked a lot about climate change, mitigation and adaptation, and we spent a lot of time talking about housing standards and development and ways that the municipalities, that we share a lot of similar pressures and opportunities, and ways we can work better together. And I think it was a very constructive and positive meeting, and the CAOs have lots of work coming out of it, which is great. But we're going to reconnect and meet again in the fall. So just to report on that back. That is not FPIM necessarily, but there's some overlap with the two. Now move on to J, which is the Stormwater Committee. This is Councillors Duran and Snow, and I believe they're reporting in.
Okay, maybe one of us can do the background and the other can cover the recommendations that we came up with. Does that work?
What do you want to do?
Whatever, okay.
You do the background, go ahead.
Okay. So there was a background prepared just so folks can be up to speed on the history of, I guess what we now refer to as ditch infilling. It is a very brief but accurate summary, so I'll just read that into the record, and anybody who's unaware, maybe watching or listening, can kind of get a picture of it all. So in February 2023, Mayor Kutcher appointed an ad hoc stormwater committee consisting of Deputy Mayor Snow and myself, and supported by city staff. The purpose of the committee was to prepare up to 3 policy options for council to consider with regards to stormwater management and the future of our ditch infill program. The city's ditch infill program has a long history going back to amalgamation in 1995. The program started in 1999 and has evolved over the years. Early on, the program was petition-based, and property owners contributed 10% of the total project cost. This program entailed installing proper storm pipes in ditches and under driveways and filling ditches on large sections of streets. Streets were selected based on what percentage of residents on the street had signed the petition and were willing to cost share the 10%. In 2007, a second program was introduced that allowed property owners to fill their own ditch, and the city would cost share up to 50% or $2,500. This version of ditch infilling did not entail going under the driveways, but rather simply connected the driveway culverts with storm pipe. This has previously been referred to as the $5,000 option. For the purposes of this report, it will be referred to as the Culvert Connect option. Much catchier. In 2009, the city revised the cost share methodology and removed the property owner's contribution. The city began to cover 100% of the costs. Property owners that had previously paid the 10% were refunded their money. In 2015, all remaining ditches in the city were reviewed and ranked based primarily on the depth of the ditch, expected water flow, and the percentage of ditches already filled on the street. And I should add that that 50% up to $2,500 method was still in existence today if property owners want to have their ditch filled. The committee held a public meeting on June 15th, 2023 to listen to residents' comments regarding ditch infill. 28 residents attended the meeting at Credit Union Place. The overwhelming majority of the comments from the residents attending were that ditch filling was a promise that was made during the amalgamation discussions as part of equalizing service levels between Summerside, St. Eleanor's, and Wilmot. Comments centered around that ditches were a safety hazard with regards to water flow and lawn care, and that they were tired of waiting for their ditch to be filled. The presentation from the public meeting is attached to this report.
So from there, we came up with a few policy options and what is going to be ultimately recommended by our committee. So 1 is status quo. So continuing with the program as was considered by the committee. For the last number of years, the city has budgeted approximately $500,000 for ditch infilling. Due to rapidly increasing costs, this amount of budget does not go a long way each year, and fewer ditches are being filled. At the current rate, if we continue with this program, it will take 50-plus years and $34 million to complete all the remaining ditches. This option is not being recommended by the Stormwater Committee. Option number 2, discontinue all city infill programs. This might be the simplest option, and there are certainly some environmental and cost considerations that would lean in this direction. However, based on the number of historical considerations, this option is not being recommended by the Stormwater Committee. 3, the Stormwater Committee is recommending the city move forward with an enhanced Culvert Connect program and discontinue the previous large section of street program. The committee is recommending 2 streams for the enhanced Culvert Connect program. A, for any property owners that own their property at the time of amalgamation in 1995, the cost share for the program would be city 75% and the property owner 25%. Based on the average cost per property of $6,000, the property owner's cost would be $1,500 and the city's share would be capped at $4,500. At last count, there are approximately 160 properties that would qualify for this stream. B, for all other properties, the 50% cost share would remain, but based on a new average cost of $6,000 per property. The city's maximum contribution would be increased to $3,000. The committee has recommended the 2 different streams based primarily on historic promise that is noted by many involved residents and councilors past and present. The committee expects that this option may not completely satisfy all residents, but believes it strikes the right balance when all factors are considered. It should also be noted that as the city continues to grow our network of sidewalks and active transportation routes, there may be cases where ditch is required to be infilled to make a sidewalk possible. In these instances, the city would cover 100% of the cost. Respectfully submitted to council for consideration by the Stormwater Committee, Deputy Mayor Snow and Councillor Duran.
Thank you, members of the committee, and maybe now we'll have an open discussion at council, and we'll just start with that. Any comments, questions, concerns?
Thank you, Your Worship, and thank you, Councillor Duran, Deputy Mayor Snow. You know, we had the meeting out there, which I thought was a good meeting. I'm just wondering if this is going to be presented to that public. How, you know, I don't know if anybody's listening tonight because they knew this was going to be on or not. I think we held a public meeting to hear the concerns. I think, you know, whether it's a public meeting or somehow we got to get this report out to the people to let them know. The other part is, like, there's some good recommendations there. I gotta put my thinking hat on there, but I realize that something has to be done. But in saying that, we need to put the money in the budget to allow this to happen. If we're going to agree that it's 75% or 50%, we got to put the money in the budget and not use this as, you know, okay, we're down to the crunch, we'll take it out of ditch infill. And, you know, we said that we had put 500,000 there. There was a lot of years that there wasn't. There was 200,000 or whatever. And I think the last, I'm not sure what they have been the last couple of years. But anyway, I know it's something that has to be addressed. I just know that the people are waiting to hear what's coming back, so I don't know how to get that message to them.
Yeah, thank you, Councilor McDougall. I think when we had that public forum, I think it was noted that, you know, we really want to have public input. We want to make sure the ones that attended specifically, those that couldn't, could get the information. Usually this is how the information rolls out, and then with media picking up on it, and then I know anybody that was there recalled, I specifically said to the residents, if this really matters to you, you need to contact your counselor. That's the best way to get any information from anybody within the city, because if we don't know it, we'll get you the information. So I would expect anybody that really is engaged and concerned about this issue will be calling you or Carrie or myself or Councilor McColman or His Worship, whoever, and saying, what's the latest, if they didn't hear. And again, this is just a recommendation that will go to council for vote, but this is from everything we've done to this point and all the considerations of funding, finance, you know, environmental concerns, everything. This is the option that we feel is probably suitable for the masses.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you for putting this together. I was just gonna say, like you said, Bruce, how are we going to make sure everybody gets it? I think we need to have a good comms piece on it was held and this is the result of and it doesn't have to be a big piece, but just sort of the results. And I don't know, I'm just thinking if there was a public meeting and those people came, and then if staff were there, and if staff could explain to them, like, do you know what I mean? It might be good for them to have that availability of staff at a future time, so that they could say, well, there's 160 properties that qualify for the 75-25 stream. So, like, well, those 160 people are going to know if they were there during amalgamation or not, but the others might wanna know, okay, so what about this, how do we go about it? And I think it helps to have staff there to explain it, rather than muddle it up with us being in the middle of it. Of course, if people contact us, we direct them to staff, but I'm just like you, I don't know what's the easiest way so that we don't belabor the whole process even more for the committee.
So I love the idea of having a cons piece roll out. I think we've all agreed that communication's key, getting all the information, whether or not it's this or anything we talk about within here, we need to have communication flowing out from City Hall. So I think in that comms piece would be, if you have questions about the, what's the new name, Councillor? Culvert Connect program. Here's the number to call, and we would definitely have information, whether or not you qualify under the 160 properties, or how the funding's received, how it's paid out, all that information, if we do go ahead with this, because we would still have to bring it to council for final approval.
Councillor Snow basically said what I was gonna say, that if council decides to move forward with this recommendation, or whatever council decides, staff will put together a communication piece and the, kind of the framework of how a program would work, and then set out to communicate that.
I guess one of my points, I'm sorry, Councilor McCollum, I just wanted to, I know that the council is going to decide on this, but I think we need to let the people that came out to that meeting and the people that are affected, what's being recommended, not what we're doing, because we need their input too, because we asked for their input, and I think we got to make them part of the solution, so that's all I'm asking.
To the chair and co-chair, or two vice chairs, Deputy Mayor Snow and Councillor Duran, I think that you have really presented a fair process for everyone. And I think that however council goes through it, and if we vote on it, or however it comes forward, I think that you've done a really good job. And I really feel that we have tried hard to listen to the residents. I think we've been respectful to hear what their needs and concerns are. And one other, just as a suggestion, as far as unfolding the information with communications, possibly if the both of you did an interview on Let's Talk, a lot of people listen to that program, and that might be, you know, a great way to get some of that information out as well. And Facebook. But no, great job, thank you.
So then, just in terms of timing, when do you think would be the appropriate time to come back to council for a vote? Obviously not going to have a vote tonight, we'll just put this out. That's it. Our next council meeting is August 21st, the one after that would be in September.
I would think August 21st would be reasonable. I mean, there's no rush in coming to a final decision, but there's no sense in dragging it out either. We would need to have a decision come budget time.
For our budget.
But I think the information's here. We have put a lot of work into it. We have gone through the public portion of it. So now it will give some time for councillors to reach out to those they know will be affected by it, and give us enough time on the city's side to get the information out, receive some additional feedback if there's any, and allow council to make their decision.
I guess the only reason I said September is because there's a lot of people between now and August are gone. They're out on vacations, they're doing what they do in the summer. I would suggest September would be a better date, and I don't think that's too late for budget. We need to put a number in the budget anyway, so whether it's just the process of what we're going through. So I would prefer to have September for the date if we could.
I'm definitely okay with September. It just gives us an extra month to just get feedback, and it's not too late in the season, so. And that's a good point about people being away, so.
Yeah, certainly. The optics of doing things in the middle of the summer in PEI is, let's be honest, yeah. Okay, well, if council's comfortable with it, I would suggest that we vote on this at our September meeting, that staff provide the opportunity for members of the public to have questions responded to, and that information get shared with the committee as well if there's any tweaks that they need to let us know about, and then to bring forward that recommended option to council. And if that option were to fail at a vote of council, then I would move to option 2, and then I would move to option 1, and we'll come to a resolution, and then we will move on. Great, awesome. And, you know, as well, thanks to all councilors. I know this has been an ongoing, long issue and discussion, and especially the 2 co-chairs who took this on and put in a lot of work, and I think have brought forward a really sensible, well thought out recommendation. So commend you for the work that you've done. Appreciate it.
And your worship, just as you bring that out, if we have it in September, I think the important thing there is it gives all of us that opportunity to talk to residents and like not rush it to the point where we've missed something, and we have time to talk to them before it comes to a vote.
Great. Well, with that, there being nothing else on the agenda, I will adjourn the meeting at 7:35 PM and hopefully catch the last innings of my 11-year-old's baseball game.